Have you ever felt like your day just slips away, like you're constantly busy but never really productive? It's as if life has turned into a never-ending to-do list, leaving you wondering, what's the point of all this? Now, here's the thing most people won't tell you. Productivity isn't about doing more. It's about doing what actually matters. And that's where pragmatism comes in. In this video, we're diving into a day in the life of a pragmatist, not just some idealized, aesthetic version, but the raw, real, and unapologetically practical mindset that gets things done without burning out. I'll show you how small, deliberate choices can lead to massive clarity and impact. And if you're tired of chasing endless goals that feel more like chores, stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll have a blueprint to make your day, not just productive, but meaningful. Ready to flip the script on your daily grind? Let's get into it. Number 1, the ruthless prioritizer. Let me start with something bold. You don't have a time management problem, you have a priorities problem. That's right. You're not running out of hours in the day, you're spending them on the wrong things. Now, before you roll your eyes or think, great, another productivity hack, trust me on this. What I'm about to share isn't about cramming more into your day or waking up at 4 a.m. to meditate in a Himalayan cave. It's about stripping away the noise and focusing on what truly matters right now. You know the drill. You sit down with the best intentions, your to-do list glaring at you with its 37 unchecked boxes. Suddenly, you're replying to an email about a meeting that could have been an email, scrolling social media to take a break, or researching which houseplant suits your personality best. We've all been there, swamped, but somehow doing everything except the one thing we actually need to do. Here's the twist. You don't need a longer to-do list, you need a not-to-do list. Being a ruthless prioritizer means asking one simple, life-changing question. Does this matter right now? If the answer isn't an emphatic yes, then guess what? It's a no. No excuses, no hesitation. That email can wait. That 5th coffee catch-up this week. Maybe skip it. You're not being rude, you're being intentional. Let me share a little story. A few weeks ago, I was juggling a work deadline, a family commitment, and a friend's request to help organize their birthday party, because apparently, I'm now the unofficial party planner. I wanted to say yes to everything. I mean, who doesn't want to be the superhero of their social circle? But I realized that I was running on fumes, so I made a choice. I told my friend, hey, I can't do the party planning, but I'll be there to celebrate. I focused on the work deadline, delegated the family task to a sibling, and, here's the kicker, took an hour to recharge instead of burning out. The result? My work was solid, my family understood, and my friend still had an amazing party. This is what prioritizing ruthlessly is about: clarity and courage. It's not selfish, it's self-preservation. When you strip away the non-essential, you create space for what matters: your peace, your progress, your passions. Yes, it's uncomfortable at first. You'll feel like you're letting people down. But here's the truth. Saying no to what drains you is saying yes to what fuels you. So, the next time you're overwhelmed, ask yourself, does this matter right now? Be honest, be brave, and remember, the world won't fall apart if you leave a few things undone. In fact, it just might come together in ways you never imagined. Number 2, the 70% rule of efficiency. Let me ask you something bold. What if aiming for perfection is the very thing holding you back? I know, it sounds counterintuitive. After all, we're told to give it 110%, to leave no stone unturned. But what if I told you that chasing perfection is a trap, one that keeps you stuck in endless revisions, second-guessing, and burnout? Instead, let me introduce you to a game-changing idea. the 70% rule of efficiency. It's simple, it's unconventional, and it might just be the key to getting more done without losing your sanity. Now think about the last time you agonized over something small, a typo in an email, the font size on a presentation, or the exact shade of blue in a design. You know the type of moment. Hours spent tweaking, obsessing, and fixing things most people wouldn't even notice. We've all been there, trapped in the perfectionist spiral. And here's the kicker. It probably didn't matter as much as you thought it did. The 70% rule says this: if something is 70% good enough to meet its purpose, it's done. That's right. You don't have to make it perfect. You just have to make it effective. Why? Because the extra time spent chasing that final 30% rarely brings value proportional to the effort. Instead, you could use that time to move on to the next task, solve another problem, or simply catch your breath. Let me share a moment from my own life. A few weeks ago, I had to submit a project for work, a video presentation that needed to be polished but not Oscar-worthy. I found myself tweaking transitions, adjusting the audio levels to perfection, and stressing over whether the color grading was just right. Then I stopped and asked myself, is this 70% good enough to do its job? The answer was yes, so I hit send, even though a part of me wanted to keep tweaking. And guess what? The feedback was overwhelmingly positive. No one noticed the details I thought were crucial. The time I saved, I used it to prepare for another project and, honestly, to relax with a cup of coffee. This is about freeing yourself from the impossible expectations we often place on ourselves. It's about recognizing that done is better than perfect and that your energy is a limited resource. The 70% rule isn't about slacking off. It's about being strategic. It's about focusing on impact instead of perfection, results instead of minutiae. When you let go of the need to perfect every detail, you create space for what truly matters: your creativity, your productivity, and your peace of mind. This is about reclaiming your time, your focus, and your life. So the next time you find yourself obsessing over something small, ask yourself, is this 70% good enough? And if the answer is yes, let it go. Because sometimes, good enough is exactly what you need to be great. Number 3, the relationship ROI test. Let me start with something that might sting a little. Not every relationship in your life is worth the investment. Harsh, right? But think about it for a second. Your time, energy, and emotional bandwidth are finite. You wouldn't pour your money into a stock that consistently gives you nothing in return, so why do we do it with people? Now, before you dismiss this as cold or cynical, hear me out. This isn't about cutting people off at the slightest inconvenience. It's about protecting your peace and making room for relationships that truly matter. You know the type of relationships I'm talking about. The ones that leave you feeling drained instead of energized. The friend who only calls when they need something, the co-worker who never reciprocates your support, or even the family member who takes more than they ever give. We've all been there, torn between wanting to be there for others and feeling the weight of being everyone's go-to. It's exhausting, isn't it? Here's where the relationship ROI test comes in. It's simple. Ask yourself, what am I getting out of this relationship and what am I putting into it? If the balance is consistently skewed, if you're the one always giving while they're always taking, it might be time to reassess. I know this sounds a little transactional, but relationships are a two-way street. It's not selfish to expect mutual effort. It's healthy. Let me share a moment from my own life. A while back, I had a friend who I thought was close, until I realized most of our conversations revolved around their problems. I'd spend hours listening, offering advice and cheering them on, but when I needed support, they were suddenly too busy. It took me a while to see the pattern, but once I did, I had to make a choice. I stopped initiating contact and let the dynamic shift. And guess what? They didn't reach out. At first it hurt, but then I felt lighter. The time and energy I saved went into friendships that were truly reciprocal, and the difference was incredible. This isn't about being heartless or keeping score. It's about valuing yourself enough to prioritize relationships that uplift you. When you focus on connections that bring mutual joy, support, and growth, you'll feel more balanced, more fulfilled. And yes, some people might not understand your boundaries, but that's okay. This isn't about them. It's about you reclaiming your energy and your peace. So, the next time you're feeling stretched thin, take a moment to apply the relationship ROI test. It's not about cutting people out, it's about letting the right ones in, because your time and energy are valuable, and the people in your life should be too. Number 4, decision-free mornings. Here's a bold idea for you. What if the key to a productive day starts with eliminating choices? I know it sounds strange. Aren't we supposed to kick off our mornings feeling fresh and ready to tackle whatever comes our way? But here's the thing. Every decision you make in the morning, no matter how small, chips away at your mental energy. By the time you sit down to focus on the big stuff, you're already drained. So, let's talk about decision-free mornings, a strategy that simplifies your start and sets the tone for the entire day. You know how it goes. You wake up and your brain is immediately bombarded. What should I wear? What should I eat? Should I squeeze in a workout or hit snooze again? We've all been there, standing in front of the closet or scrolling aimlessly through meal options while the clock ticks away. It's stressful, and by the time you've navigated those little choices, you're already feeling a bit frazzled. Decision-free mornings flip this script. The idea is simple. Take every avoidable decision out of your mornings. Lay out your clothes the night before, plan your breakfast ahead of time, and set a consistent routine that eliminates guesswork. It might feel robotic at first, but trust me, it's a game changer. The less you have to think in the morning, the more energy you save for decisions that actually matter later in the day. Here's how this played out for me. For months, I'd start my mornings running around like a headless chicken, deciding between outfits, scrolling for breakfast recipes, and debating whether I had time to exercise. By the time I sat down to work, I was exhausted before the day even began. Then I tried something radical. I set up a simple breakfast rotation, laid out my clothes before bed, and picked a workout routine that didn't require planning. The result? Mornings became effortless, and I had more focus and energy to tackle my work. This is about more than saving time. It's about reclaiming mental space and starting your day with clarity and purpose. You don't realize how much those tiny decisions add up until they're gone. Suddenly, your mind feels lighter, and you're able to approach the rest of the day with a sense of calm control. So the next time you find yourself overwhelmed in the morning, try this. Streamline everything you can. Create a routine so predictable it feels second nature. Because when you free your mornings from decision fatigue, you give yourself the gift of focus, energy, and a truly intentional start to your day. Number 5, profit from saying no. Here's a truth most people don't talk about. Saying no can be one of the most profitable decisions you'll ever make. And I'm not just talking about financial profit. I mean the kind of profit that shows up in your time, energy, and mental peace. The kind that lets you focus on what really matters. But let's be honest, saying no, it's hard. It feels uncomfortable. You worry about disappointing people, missing out, or coming across as selfish. Trust me, I get it. But here's the kicker. Every time you say yes to something that doesn't align with your goals, you're actually saying no to yourself. We've all been there. Someone asks for a favor, a commitment, or a last-minute small request, and before you've even thought it through, The word yes slips out. You tell yourself it's no big deal, you're just being helpful or polite. But then, fast forward a few hours or days, and you're sitting there frustrated, overwhelmed, and maybe even resentful. You know the feeling, right? That sinking realization that you've overcommitted or prioritized someone else's needs over your own. Here's the strategy. Treat your yes like it has a dollar value attached to it. Imagine every agreement you make as an investment of your most valuable resources, your time and energy. Would you spend $100 on something you didn't need or want? No. Then why give away your yes so freely? Learning to say no, strategically and unapologetically, is about reclaiming that value. It's about choosing what deserves your investment and what doesn't. Let me share a story to bring this home. A while back, a friend asked me to help with a project. It wasn't something I was passionate about, and honestly, I didn't have the bandwidth. But I said yes anyway because I didn't want to seem rude or unhelpful. What happened next? I spent hours working on something I didn't care about, fell behind on my own priorities, and felt drained for days. Then it hit me. The problem wasn't the ask. It was my inability to protect my time. From that day on, I started practicing the art of saying no, not rudely, but firmly. And you know what? People respected it. And I respected myself more. This isn't just about setting boundaries. It's about recognizing your worth and aligning your choices with your goals. Saying no doesn't make you mean, selfish, or unkind. It makes you intentional. It makes you focused. And ultimately, it allows you to say a bigger, more enthusiastic yes to the things that truly matter. So here's your challenge. The next time you're asked for something, pause. Ask yourself, does this align with my priorities? Is this the best use of my energy? If the answer is no, don't hesitate. Say it with kindness, but say it clearly. Because every no you give to the wrong things creates space for the right things. And that's the real profit. Number 6, the productive rebellion. Here's a radical thought. What if the secret to being more productive isn't working harder, but breaking some of the rules you've been told about how to work? Sounds counterintuitive, right? We've all grown up with this idea that productivity is about structure, discipline, and sticking to the game plan no matter what. But what if I told you that true productivity often starts with rebellion? Not the chaotic burn-it-all-down kind, but a deliberate, thoughtful rebellion against the norms that don't serve you. Stay with me on this, because this isn't about slacking off. It's about working smarter and living better. You know how it feels when you're stuck in a routine that doesn't inspire you? The alarm goes off, you follow the same checklist, and before you know it, the day's over, and you've accomplished what exactly? It's like running on a treadmill, exhausting, but not actually getting anywhere. We've all been there, slogging through endless tasks that don't move the needle, but are there because, well, that's how it's always been done. Here's the strategy. Flip the script. Start questioning the rules you've been following, especially the ones that feel restrictive or pointless. Maybe it's the idea that you have to wake up at 5 a.m. to be successful, or that multitasking is the only way to get things done, or that you need to fill every minute with something productive. What if you chose to work in bursts of intense focus instead of dragging out your to-do list all day? What if you decided that rest is a priority, not a reward? What if you said no to things that don't align with your goals, even if they seem important on paper? Let me give you an example. A few months ago, I realized that my afternoons were my least productive time. Instead of pushing through with caffeine and sheer willpower, I rebelled against the idea that the workday needs to look a certain way. I started taking 20-minute power naps or stepping outside for a quick walk. The result? My focus in the evening skyrocketed, and I got more done in less time. It wasn't about slacking off, it was about optimizing the way I worked, even if it looked unconventional. This kind of rebellion is empowering because it reminds you that you're in charge. You're not a cog in a machine. You're a human with unique rhythms, preferences, and energy cycles. The more you embrace that, the more productive and fulfilled you'll be. This isn't about being lazy or rebellious for the sake of it. It's about reclaiming your autonomy and designing a workflow that works for you, not against you. So here's the takeaway. The next time you feel stuck, ask yourself, what rule am I following that doesn't make sense for me? Then break it. Challenge the norms. Create your own. Because true productivity isn't about fitting into someone else's mold. It's about creating a system that fits you. And when you do that, you're not just working, you're thriving. Number 7, fail fast and fix fast. Here's a truth that might sting a little. Failure isn't the opposite of success. It's a stepping stone to it. Now, before you roll your eyes and think, great, another failure is a teacher speech, hear me out. What if I told you that the problem isn't failing, it's dragging it out? The real key to growth is failing fast and fixing fast. It's about hitting the wall, bouncing back, and learning so quickly that failure almost feels like progress. Intrigued? Let's dive into why this mindset can change everything. We've all been in that frustrating loop, haven't we? Trying to perfect something, overthinking every detail, terrified of getting it wrong. You know the feeling. You spend hours, days, maybe even weeks on a project or a decision, only to realize it's not working. And then, instead of pivoting, you double down because, well, you've already invested so much. It's like trying to fix a sinking boat with a teaspoon. We've all been there, and let me tell you, it's exhausting. The strategy here is simple but powerful. Fail fast, then fix fast. When you try something and it doesn't work, don't linger. Assess what went wrong, adjust, and move forward. This isn't about being careless or rushing through things. It's about embracing the idea that no plan survives contact with reality. When you test an idea quickly, you're giving yourself the gift of feedback, and feedback is what turns attempts into accomplishments. Let me share a quick story. A while back, I had this idea for a video project. I spent hours planning it out, choosing the perfect shots, tweaking the script, imagining how it would look. But when I started editing, it just didn't click. The pacing was off, the visuals felt flat, and it wasn't hitting the mark. Instead of scrapping the whole thing or agonizing over what went wrong, I decided to test a new direction. I swapped the visuals, simplified the story, and reworked the pacing. Within a day, the project went from meh to something I was genuinely proud of. The key wasn't avoiding failure, it was letting failure guide me to a better solution. This approach isn't just about saving time, it's about saving your sanity. When you stop fearing failure and start seeing it as part of the process, you free yourself from perfectionism. You learn to trust that even if you stumble, you'll figure it out. And that's empowering. It's about reclaiming your momentum and refusing to let a misstep define your journey. So here's the takeaway. Don't fear failure. Embrace it, but do it quickly. Fail fast, fix fast, and keep moving. Because every time you bounce back, you're building resilience, sharpening your skills, and getting one step closer to the win. Success isn't about never falling, it's about how quickly and creatively you rise. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this video gave you some fresh insights into how a pragmatist approaches their day, and maybe even inspired you to think about how you can apply these principles in your own life. If you found this video valuable, don't forget to hit that like button. It really helps support the channel. And if you want more content like this, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a new video. If you know someone who could benefit from a more practical approach to life, Go ahead and share this with them. They might appreciate it more than you think. I'd also love to hear from you in the comments. What's your take on living pragmatically? Any tips or experiences you want to share? Let's keep the conversation going. Remember, life isn't about chasing perfection. It's about making the most of what's in front of you. Stay practical, stay focused, and keep moving forward. See you in the next video.